Okay, so good morning class. Okay, paabutin sa natauban ha. Okay, meron sa mga oras. 10 minutes pa no, bago ko magpa-late. Let's wait for the others. Kaya basig kung banhin yung internet. Okay. So you have your book with you. Okay. So before, okay. Sulod na ba tanan? Tanaw na ko ha. Okay. Okay, nakasulod na ang tanan no. So we'll proceed to before we proceed to our lesson proper for today, we have to first opening prayer to be led to us by Mr. Okay, ikaw na lang Mr. Rodriguez. Please lead the prayer for today. Okay, so thank you Mr. Rodriguez. After checking the attendance, did I give you a assignment yesterday? Okay, so as far as I remembered, I have post on Schoology the assignment, which is the deadline is today. Okay, so you have to answer on your book. You just have to take a picture on it. So I have already seen some of the assignments, and some of the others have not yet passed the assignment. So today we have a new lesson, but before that, before going to our new lesson for today, anyone here in the class, if you have remembered in your previous years about just something about inheritance, okay? Open your mic, guys. Okay. Okay, class, for today's lesson, we have the Chapter 2, Heredity. It's the trait that counts. So, in this chapter, we have Lesson 6, the Non-Mendelian Genetics. So, for today's lesson, we have the objectives, differentiate the loss of incomplete dominance and the loss of codominance. Next is we have to explain the different patterns of non-Mendelian inheritance, and lastly we have to solve problems applying non-Mendelian patterns of inheritance. So before anything else, we have to define what is a non-Mendelian genetics. So simply we have on your book, it is inheritance discovered by Mendel, and it is more it is the complex inheritance that is being discovered by Mendel, and the other one is the Mendelian genetics. So first we have to define what is loss of incomplete dominance. So on your book, we have the definition of this principle states that a cross between homozygous dominant and recessive genes will result to a progeny of heterozygous genes determining an intermediate trait between the dominant trait and recessive trait. So both alleles exert an effect and jointly produce an intermediate phenotype. First, we have to define loss of incomplete dominance, which means that the homozygous dominant and recessive genes will result to a heterozygous. So which means what do we mean by homozygous? So we mean by homozygous by only in simple terms, these genes are not mixed. So in heterozygous, this is a simple term for mixed genes. Okay, So in laws of incomplete dominance, we have the homozygous dominant and recessive genes and will result to what? Yes, correct. It will result to an heterozygous offspring. So on your page, on your example page 466, we have the sample problem number 1. Refer in your book, okay? So in this problem, we have a red flower is crossed with a white flower. So we have to determine the genotypic and the phenotypic ratio of this cross. So for sample problem number 1, a red flower, double capital A, is crossed with a white flower, small letter a. So we have to determine the genotypic and the phenotypic ratio of this cross. So procedure number 1, we have to assign a legend for the traits. Capital A for the red, small letter a for white, and capital letter A and small letter a for pink. Next is we have to determine the genotype of both parents. Okay, we have double capital A over the small capital letter A double. Next procedure, the third procedure, is we have to determine the alleles of the parents. We have, since we have the red flower double capital A, we have to separate them. Multiply or cross with the white flower, we have 2 small letter a. So the fourth step is we have to place the alleles in a Punnett square. Inanan siya guys, no? Drawing lang mo. Refer to your book lang on page 466. So this square is a very simple for you to follow. This has a 3x3 boxes. So we have to put the white flower, which is the recessive trait, on the side, and the dominant trait, a red flower, double capital A, on the top. So dominant and recessive, we have capital A and small letter a, which results to what? What, people? Which results to, okay, what color? We have color pink. Okay, very good. We have a result or an offspring of pink flower. Next is A crossed with small letter a. Again, we have a result of, yes, we have also a result of pink. So we'll have to do the rest. We have capital letter A and small letter a. We have what? We have pink also. Okay? Very good. Okay, next. The last box, we have capital letter A and small letter a. We have, okay, very good. We have also a pink flower. Very good, guys. Kaya naka-follow tanan. Okay, so next step, we have to determine its genotypic ratio and phenotypic ratio. Okay? So for genotypic ratio, we have, okay, so I'm just gonna write this down. So for genotypic ratio, we have a offspring of 4 capital A genotypic AA and phenotypic pink. So we have what? We have a ratio of 4 to 0 or 1 to 0. Which means we have Are you following? We are on the sample problem number 1, guys. Okay. So since we have a result of 4 pink offspring, therefore it is a 100% genotypic ratio of dominant and recessive traits. So its offspring will be 100% pink. Okay, very good. So let's proceed to its phenotypic ratio. Okay. So again, since we have 4 offspring, therefore we have the ratio of 4 to 0 or 1 over 0. Okay. Sorry, my bad. Next, since we have a genotypic ratio of 100% dominant and recessive trait, then we have the offspring will be 100% pink. Okay, very good. So this dominant and recessive trait is called the genotypic ratio. And then the color, which is the result, is called the phenotypic ratio. Okay, gets na? Okay. Any questions? Okay, so what is the result? The result is color what? The result is color pink. So this implies that in the law of incomplete dominance, heterozygous capital A and small letter a, which means pink, results to an offspring of a pink flower. Why? Because the dominant gene does not completely mask the recessive gene. That is why it has an offspring of intermediate trait. That is why the pink flower appears. So, on the sample number 2, we have to proceed with the sample number 2, okay? Okay, so no questions? Okay, my question. So, what if daw the first generation is crossed? Okay, so very good question. So, if we have to cross the first generation, so, diba, we have 2 pink flowers. Okay. So, 2 pink flowers from first generation are crossed. So, let's determine the genotypic and phenotypic ratio of this cross. So, for capital A, we have red, small letter a for white, and again, we have capital and small letter A for pink. Okay. So, second procedure, again, we have to determine the genotype of both parents. So, since we have the parents from the first generation, we have A, capital and small letter A, we have genotype of capital and small letter A times capital letter A and small letter A. Third step is we have to determine the alleles of the parent, which is red, or the capital letter A, and white, and red, and white. So these are the alleles of the parents, since we are using the first generation of the what? Of the parents. Okay, next. The fourth procedure, we have to put it, or we have to place the alleles in the Punnett square to us to determine the genotypic and the phenotypic ratio of this cross, and also the result of this first generation parents. Again, you have to put a trait here, and at the top we have to put also a trait. So what happened if we cross the a parent of capital A and capital A? We have, of course, we have color red, since it is a dominant allele. Next, we have to cross between the dominant and the recessive trait. We have a result of pink. Okay, very good. So I'm showing to you this Punnett square, so you will have a guide and you will not be confused with the Punnett square. Okay, next step is lastly, we have to cross the small letter A and the small letter A alleles. So the outcome will be color white, of course. Very good, children. So you have followed. Okay. So, in order for us to determine the genotypic ratio, we have to input all the results. Okay? Okay, for genotypic ratio. Okay. We have to determine its ratio, of course. So, let's go back to our Punnett square. So, we have to tally all the results. The red, the pink, and the white. So, how many double capital A are there? So, we have one result. For our heterozygous result, we have 2. And our homozygous result, we have 1. So, with that, we have a ratio of 1/2, 1:2, and 2:1. So, we have to put on our genotypic ratio 1:2:1. Or, we have the genotypic ratio of double capital A, small letter, big letter A, and small, and both double small letter A. Okay? Am I doing it right? Follow? Okay. So, next is the phenotypic ratio. Again, we have to determine the ratio of these parents. Oh, sorry. It's offspring there. Sorry. So, again, we have to tally all the results. So 1:2:1. The same in the genotypic ratio. We have the result of red, pink, and white. Okay, understand? Nakasunod ang tanan? Okay, none? No questions? Clarifications? Okay, so no questions for the law of incomplete dominance. Okay, so let's proceed to the law of codominance, or the law of complete dominance. So in your book, it states that this principle states that the cross between homozygous dominant genes and recessive genes will result to an offspring or a progeny of heterozygous genes determining a phenotype where both the dominant trait and recessive trait are expressed. So in your book, we have a sample of a cow. A white cow and a red cow is being crossed. So we have the roan. Okay, so refer at your book on page 466. So in order to understand much better, I am giving you a sample, which is the sample problem number 3. Okay, so I'm showing you a Punnett square, so we have to step by step solve this problem. Okay, so let's proceed with the law of condominance. So let's have double capital A for red cow, double small letter A for white cow, parent, and an offspring of capital letter A and small letter A for roan cow. Just refer on your book, page 468. Okay, follow. Okay, so let's proceed with the sample problem number 3. If two roan, okay, cows are crossed, what is the expected genotype and phenotypic ratio of their offspring? So we have to put the traits of each roan. We have the one capital letter A and small letter A. Okay. And then we have the two capital letter A. We have the outcome of, we have the red cow. Okay, very good. Okay, let's proceed to the second cross. We have capital letter A and small letter A. We have roan. Very good. Third one is roan again because of its traits. And lastly, we have the small double letter A. We have the outcome of white cow. So to determine the genotypic ratio, we have to tally first. We have we only have one red for the dominant trait. We have two homozygous, two heterozygous and one homozygous. So that will be resulted to 1:2 and 1. So for genotypic ratio, we have the ratio of 1:2:1, which means we have double capital A, one capital and small letter A, and lastly the two small letter A. For the phenotypic ratio, we have, everyone follow? Okay, we have, okay, so follow lang ha. We have Okay. Baba ko konti para makita. Red. We have to tally the outcome, okay? We have red, roan, and white. How many are red? Okay, we have 1. How about the roan? We have very good, 2. How about the white? Okay, we have only 1 white outcome. So we have to tally it for our phenotypic ratio. We have 1:2:1, or red, roan, and very good white. Okay, so understand the process. Okay, very good. Clap your hands to everyone. Very good, kinaka-follow. Okay. So let's differentiate the law of incomplete dominance and the law of codominance. So law of incomplete dominance is where a homozygous and heterozygous parents or genes has an offspring of what? Intermediate trait, which means they have perfectly balanced, or they have a mixed result of an offspring. While the law of codominance is where both the dominant trait and recessive trait are expressed, or you can see, or you can what do you call it? Or you can, so guys, you can determine the dominant trait and recessive trait of a parent through its offspring. Okay, so no further questions about our lesson for today. How about clarifications for the laws of non-Mendelian genetics? The laws of incomplete and complete dominance. No questions, no clarifications. Okay, so in that case, I will send it to you. Just wait for it. I will send you the activity for today. Since we have an online class, supposedly this is a pair work, but since we have pandemic, you have to answer it individually, and I will give you 5 minutes to answer. So since there are no questions, assuming you have learned something, you have already please open your camera so I can see you solving your activity. Did everyone open the file already? Okay, so I will start the time na ha. I will give you only 5 to 10 minutes. After that, you have to send it after 10 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes, no more, no less. Okay. Open your cam, guys. Okay, time is up. 10 minutes is over. Since we don't have enough time for today, we have to proceed to our group activity for today. Supposedly, it would be a group activity, but since we have a pandemic and we have an online class, I have to divide the class into alphabetically. So okay, how will I divide the class? Paano ba class? From surnames na lang, no? Okay. Okay, so for items number, okay, refer to your book, page 470, Sci exercise, answer the following problems. People with the surnames that starts with letter A, B, C, and D, you will answer the item letter A, okay? I repeat, surnames that starts with letter A, B, C, and D, you will answer the item letter A. Okay, students with surnames starts with letter E, F, G, and H, you will answer the item letter B. I repeat, students with surnames that starts with E, F, G, and H, you have to answer the item letter B. For students with surnames that starts with I, J, K, L, and M, you have to answer item letter C. Naka-follow? Okay. For students that have surnames of N, O, P, and Q, you have to answer also item letter A. Okay? Kuha. Students that surnames that starts with N, O, P, and Q, you have to answer item letter A. And for item letter B, we have students that starts with letter R, S, T, and U. Nakuha. Item letter B, R, S, T, and U. Lastly, for item letter C also, we have, I forgot, R, S, T, okay. V, W, X, Y, and Z, we have item letter C. So I repeat, items letter A are the following. Surnames that starts with letter A, B, C, D, N, O, P, and Q. Follow? Okay. For items letter B we have students that have surname starts with letter E, F, G, H, R, S, T, and U. Questions? Okay na. Let's proceed to item letter C. We have I, J, K, L, M, and V, W, X, Y, and Z. So, questions? Na? So, I'll give you, since you only have 20 minutes remaining time, I'll give you 15 minutes to answer the problems. By the way, you only have one problem, and one problem has 4 items. Letter A has 4 items, letter B also has 4 items, and letter C, it has only 3 items. So, timer starts now. Okay, so 15 minutes is over. So, since we don't have enough time, I'll check it later, and I will send it to you, your scores. I will just post it on your Schoology account. So, today, we already have, did we differentiate the laws of incomplete dominance and codominance? Yes, we have differentiate the two laws of the non-Mendelian genetics. So, the number 2, did we explain the different patterns of non-Mendelian inheritance? Yes, we did. Last week, did we solve problems applying non-Mendelian patterns of inheritance? Yes, okay. So, did we aim for our objectives for today? Okay. So, since we have aimed for our objectives for today, I will not forget we will have an assignment. So your assignment will be, I will be posting it on your Schoology. So this assignment, okay. So since you have many assignments for your other subjects, I will just post it on your GC, I guess, later after this class. Okay, so that's all for today. Goodbye, class, and enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye, and thank you for listening. I hope you have learned something for our lesson for today. And don't forget your assignments. I will check it the other day since we don't have a virtual class tomorrow. Okay? Goodbye, class. You may now take a rest for the rest of the day. Okay, goodbye.